Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here. In this video we're talking about PlayStation 2, PlayStation Vita, Nintendo Switch, Game Boy, and Pretendo. Let's get started. Alright, we'll kick things off here talking about PlayStation 2 emulation on PC with PCSX2. PCSX2 just got a really big fix that fixes issues in 19 games and counting. These games include Burnout 3, Driver Parallel Lines, and Sega Model 2 games. So here's a quick look at the before and after, and this is the before. We can see the sun bleeding right through the top of the screen there where it should be shielded. And this is the after, and the sun is no longer there, the lens flare is no longer there, and the game's looking better. To pick up the latest and arguably greatest version of PCSX2, head to PCSX2.net, click on Download. Scroll past stable releases. The latest version here is version 1.6. This came out back in 2020 and it's arguably a little bit outdated. Scroll down to where you see nightly builds and pick up the latest version here. At the time of filming, it's version 1.7.35. It is worth pointing out that these are nightly builds, so some stuff might be broken, some stuff might not work as anticipated, but it might be worth checking out. Next up, we're talking about PlayStation Vita emulation on Android with Vita 3K, and this is a small update for you. Mac2 has Soul Sacrifice Delta up and running. It's running at less than 10 frames per second, and I would argue at this frame rate it's kind of unplayable, but at the same time it's great that it's running. And remember here, Vita 3K on Android is currently in early stages of development. It has not been released to the public, and if you see a Vita 3K Android APK, it is 100% fake. Mac2 is the only person with the actual APK. It hasn't been released yet. Moving on now, and we're talking about Nintendo Switch emulation on PC with Bayonetta 3 and Yuzu. Yes, Yuzu now runs Bayonetta 3. So today Yuzu pushed out two mainline builds, version 12.16 and 12.17. And with this latest update, Bayonetta 3 now runs with OpenGL and Vulkan. However, there is one catch. They say the game requires GPU high settings in order to render correctly. And the game isn't running perfectly, but it is running. So at this point in time, both Yuzu and Ryujinx are running Bayonetta 3, and we're probably going to see some more updates in the next few days or possibly even weeks to make the Bayonetta 3 experience better on both emulators. And speaking about Bayonetta and also Switch emulation, next up here we're talking about Nintendo Switch emulation on Android with Skyline. And Skyline has a few new updates. Today, Skyline released Edge versions 4, 5, and 6, and version 6 here brings about a whole bunch of changes. So in Skyline Edge version 6, we've got some bug fixes, some improvements, and some optimizations. They've implemented scaled format emulation, which should help out some games like Skyrim. They've also added a bunch of things necessary for Vulkan games to go in games like Hades, Sunshine, Doom, and Turok. On top of that, they've got some bug fixes to fix some graphical issues, and they've also helped fix some stuttering in Skyrim. So to see these changes in action, check out this video from Rob, and I'll leave a link to it in the description below. They've got Bayonetta 2 up and running at 60 frames per second. Absolutely incredible, and it's rendering pretty darn well. Stanley Parable Deluxe is running at a solid 60 frames per second. And yes, you're seeing this correctly. This is Super Mario Odyssey in Metro City running at 60 frames per second. It's looking really good. Pokken Tournament DX is not there just yet, but it's in game, and some people would say this is playable. I would argue against it. At the same time, it's impressive. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance is running at a solid 60 frames per second. Belmont's got Resident Evil 5 up and running and in-game. It's rendering and looking okay. It's still less than 20 frames per second. And although graphically it's completely messed up, Link's Awakening is in-game. It is worth pointing out that Skyline Edge is hidden behind a paywall, so if you wanted access to it, you gotta support them at a tier of $5 a month. Alternatively though, you can just build this APK right from their GitHub. The code's right there, or just wait 2 weeks for them to merge this code to the mainline version, which is 100% free. The initial release of Skyline Edge came out back on October 22nd, so this Saturday we should see a pretty big update to Skyline. And speaking about big updates, last up here we're talking about Pretendo. For those who are unaware, Pretendo is a free and open source replacement for Nintendo's servers for both the 3DS and Wii U. Now Pretendo just posted a well-written recap on their website, and I'll leave a link to it in the description below, and I do recommend checking it out. There's a ton of great information in here, including some very great news. So Pretendo has the Plaza working, CMU integration working, and now Wii U chat working. Yes, Wii U chat is back. So if you're interested in Pretendo at all, I recommend checking out their Discord. There's a lot of information in there and a lot of friendly users. Pretendo has a massive future, and I can't wait to see what they do next. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a ton today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.